Would you look at all that RAM? Hello, and welcome to another mail video, and it has been a while, as I'll get to with that first package in a moment, but this is the first mail video in, I think, at least 6 months. A lot of these are dated November, but, well, some of them are a little bit older. And the first one that we just saw there actually was sent in July of last year, so going to be nearly a year by the time this video is coming out, and I feel really bad about that. And that will be the first one we take a look at here more seriously. But I need to change a little bit about how I'm doing these mail videos, so I'm going to talk about that here in a moment. But yeah, let's get started and opening stuff up. Before we get to that, though, this video was sponsored by Linode. Linode is a Linux server hosting service. They let you run a virtual machine on a physical server with options to configure it however you want through remote access. You can remotely log in using the SSH clients built into Linux, Windows, and Mac, or use the web console if you need more direct control. I've been using Linode's $5 a month Nanode tier since 2018 to host my own website and a few Discord bots. Getting it installed was easy, as they provide ready-to-go distributions you can load up and get running quickly. They also provide one-click setups for popular software configurations like LAMP, GitLab, or WordPress. And something that I personally like that Linode offers are a bunch of free guides on how to set up and configure your server. They have anything from setting up a Minecraft server to configuring Apache virtual host files, so there's a lot of good stuff in there. If you want to try out Linode, which I would recommend as a paying user, then you can use the link in the description to get a $20 free credit, which would give you about 4 months for a service like mine. Now, let's get back to it. Okay, this first package was actually not sent to me, but it was sent to the person who sent the last package, which is why it took so long, because they were acting as a proxy to send it to me. So this took a year to get here, and I'm very apologetic about that. I didn't realize it would take that long. There were just a lot of things that conspired against getting it here sooner. But this was sent by Yato, God of War, from Germany. And since I didn't get the original box, we can just dive right into what we have here and the note. I'm interjecting this segment after recording it at the end of the video because it has to do with the notes. Now, I've read every single one of these notes here, but there were so many of them in every single package that even though I read them all on camera, I don't think I should really include them all here because it would massively extend the length of the video. So thank you to everyone who wrote a note, and I did actually read all of them here. So again, thank you. This one's really cool. It is typed on a IBM Selectric 2. It's always cool to see typewriters in use. Okay, so thank you again, Yato God of War, for sending these. This is, without a doubt, a lifetime supply of EDO memory, barring needing weird capacities. But wow, just that's what everything is in here. It's EDO memory. Look at all these matched pairs of sticks. That is just incredible. Thank you so much for sending this. There are a few other things mixed in here, so I think this is probably like from the front panel of a computer or a television or something, and then this is going to be USB, so this is just a multimedia controller. That is a fancy, complicated socket. Wow, that's probably SD, MMC, S, or memory stick. See, I have some more RAM. I'm really bad at identifying these. I'm gonna guess this is DDR2. 1 gigabyte, might just be DDR. So that's a lot of that memory for whatever system that goes to, because that is going to run up against 32-bit addressing issues. We have some, I believe these are 32 pins. Those are cool. I don't have a lot of those. The only other of those that I have, I was actually given, and will be showing in a little bit later, but there are a bunch of those. Wow, that's cool to see that old Samsung logo. There's one other, there are a couple of really weird things on here, in here. It's like this ATI device. I'm not sure, and I think that's in, yeah, the same DDR, no, that's newer. So that might be DDR2 sim. That's very strange. So yeah, I don't know what this is. I haven't looked up any of these. So we got an IBM thing here. That's just strange. But then there's also this, which is a whole bunch of Intel flash. That is very strange. Flash, and again, but what's weirder is this is EDO and flash. So, well, it's not quite EDO. Oh, okay. I was kind of hoping this might be like a gigantic RAM disk option, but it may still be. I don't know. But whatever that goes to, it's probably going to be very interesting. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in here. Definitely. Thank you for sending this. Ooh. Oh, that logo is so familiar, but I can't place it. Huh. Man, these little tiny sims are so small. Whoa. All right, well, again, thank you for sending these. This is, yeah, absolute lifetime supply of probably all of those form factors of RAM. Now, it's important to keep in mind that I think every single one of these packages was sent before I renamed the channel to Tech Tangents, and at least one of them shows why I had to do that. I don't take any offense to it, but yeah. And next is the package I was just mentioning from John in Rochester, Minnesota. I was only familiar with Rochester, New York, so that was a new one to me. Now, I get it. Yeah, the name was kind of ridiculous and it was easy to make a play on it. But let's go ahead and open this up. I have pre-opened most of these, I guess, because it took a while and some of them were a bit fragile. Now, this is pretty spiffy. This is a dual socket Pentium III motherboard. So these are socket 370. That is really cool. I really don't know what is going to make the most of this. Probably Windows NT, definitely Linux stuff, but that is a performance board for sure. I was also given a lot of information about this board to go with it. I haven't had the chance to dive into that yet, but now that I've got it, I'm definitely going to be taking a closer look at it because that is going to be a really cool board to try out someday. All right, I am going through these in no particular order if I haven't mentioned that already, but this next one comes from Howard in London, England, and I don't have a knife with me, so this is going to be interesting. Well, that wasn't how that opened, but good enough. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have here. So this is the NEC V20. This is a replacement CPU for the 8088. And this is a slightly better performing CPU, but sacrifices some compatibility. I still haven't tried one of these. I have two 5150s, and once I finally sort out how I'm going to handle floppy drives, that would be a great system to try this in. So thank you for sending that. I really need to get around to checking those out. This is what we had originally talked about. This must have been after my 5160 or one of my other 5150 videos. These are the main case screws for IBM PC and XT systems. They aren't, I mean, you could probably find the fastener size and thread pitch and all that kind of stuff, but these are the original style flat head heads with the hex part on there. It's way easier to use like a socket wrench rather than a flat-bladed screwdriver, so these are really nice, thank you. And then we have something that I'm very excited about here, a Hercules card. Now, this is a monochrome video card. This will connect to, I think it will connect to just an MDA monitor, but it has graphics capabilities. So this is really, really cool and a very different way of looking at doing graphics because it's graphics without color. So that is very interesting. I bet one of these is a, wow, there's two. Anyway, I bet one of those is light pen because that was all the rage at this time. But yeah, this is cool. I don't have any other Hercules cards. I have something that's an MGC card. I don't know what that is. I think that's what I bet. Anyway, this is cool, and I can't remember, but I don't think this uses the CGA color range or the MDA color range, so it might be possible to use MDA and Hercules and CGA in one system for triple monitor DOS, but I really, really doubt anything was designed using that. And since I made the video on dual monitor, some people have pointed out some applications that it was used in. So that was really cool to see. But yeah, that is a really awesome thing. Thank you for sending that in, and I look forward to sticking that in something. Next is a package from Adam in Elyria, Ohio. I'm going to put the pin on Cleveland, but thank you. And this one, I am very happy that everything was fine in because it wasn't actually taped. I would highly recommend taping the packages, but I think everything turned out fine in the end. Now, these are kind of special to particular enthusiasts like myself, mostly people who are into HP stuff. These are GPIB cards, or as this one indicates, IEEE 488 cards. These have a Centronics, I forget how many pins that is, but it's a GPIB connector and interface. Now, PC stuff doesn't typically utilize this, but this could probably be adapted to work with something like my Commodore PET disk drive if there were software available for it. So that video where I was working on my 1541 drive would have been avoided if I'd had these in that computer with software to use them. But these are definitely really cool, and these are some pretty nice ones. I think these are, I mean, this one's a little bit more discreet and has a nice controller, it looks like, right there. And then this one seems to be quite a bit newer, although 8-bit I say instead, so that's kind of interesting. But these look like they're probably going to be really nice, and I can't wait to try those out with something. I don't know quite what yet. My HP 34401A multimeter definitely supports those, as does the HP 16500C I picked up a while ago. I don't know quite what would be the best thing to put these in. Maybe that dual socket Pentium III board, that would be cool to build that up as like a lab computer. But for now, yeah, I'm definitely gonna be looking forward to giving those a shot. All right, the next one comes from Kyle in Newfoundland, Canada. I know there's a city, but I forgot what it was and I scraped it off, so I'll pin it there. All right, this is a pad of TRS-80 video display worksheets, and this is just a pad of paper bound with glue. Now, this may seem strange, but this was a really handy thing to have at this time. So if you watch my channel, you probably watch the 8-bit guy, and you've seen his program for drawing on multiple Commodore systems, the PET, VIC-20, and the C64, and allow you to design frames of graphics and then export them out to other programs to print. But you couldn't really do that on these types of systems from the late 70s and early 80s, because those programs weren't the kinds of things that were just included with the operating system. So you'd either have to buy or write them yourself, or you could get something like this. Now, this is a grid of all of the pixels that the system could display, and I believe it's arranged by rows and columns as well, and down to the subpixels for the characters. So this is really, really cool as a historical piece. This is just kind of one of those things that if you don't know what it would be used for, it wouldn't really make a lot of sense, but it's really cool in context, and I very much like it. I'm not exactly sure which system this would be for. It's probably for the original TRS-80, since that's all it's called here. I don't see a date, so that would mean the 1977 TRS-80. So probably the thing to put on here will be a dancing demon. To go ahead and draw that on there, that would be really cool. But yeah, definitely thank you for sending these, and I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with them, but they are a great historical piece. The next one comes from Tim in Louisville, Illinois. And the handy dandy thumbtack will come to the rescue again here, in lieu of a knife that I should have grabbed before turning on the camera. Whoa, it is way bigger than I thought it was gonna be. I felt all the padding shrinking away. That's about right. Oh man, that thing is gorgeous. Scott, the inside of the pouch is deteriorating. Yeah. But this is cool. Okay. That should have a battery caddy, I suspect. So I will probably have to fashion something. I might be able to get this working immediately. And I did. but I figure it would be more helpful to describe how in a microtangent video that I'll release right after this, rather than bury it in the middle of a long unrelated mail video. Then others with the same issue can see how to do it for themselves more easily. But this thing is awesome, and it's going to replace my 28C as my daily carry for a while now. Thanks again for sending it. Up next, we have a package from Matt in O'Fallon, Missouri. And this one is really cool, and I definitely had to open it up and inspect everything before I let a whole bunch of time go by. This is a Nova 3 front panel, and that is just sweet. So this is a Data General Nova 3 front panel, just for the completeness. Now, he sent this to me after seeing my video on the Data General Nova 4 and Micro Nova that I picked up now almost 6 months ago. And I want to also take a moment to talk here about how those upgrades, well, not really upgrades, repairs are going and will be shown in the future. So let me just set this down here. And I get a lot of questions about this because obviously there are not a lot of people who have these, and they are very interesting, and I understand you're curious and want to know and see more of them. But to be honest, they're really, really hard and intimidating to work on. So I, first off, have started working on the terminal already. Now, the terminal is easier because it's manageable, but I've already run into some unusual parts that I will need to order replacements for and kind of make my own, but that's another story. The first thing I needed to do was learn how to reform capacitors, and I know I mentioned this in that video, and I have a procedure down. I need to make a video about that first before I actually make a video about restoring the terminal. I have still not turned anything on from that, but I want to make sure I go through and restore the capacitors, because after working on that terminal a little bit, I know the capacitors need to be reformed. So just flipping the switch will kill it. I can guarantee that now. So I need to go through and do that to make sure everything stays safe. The other problem is most of the parts in that machine are too heavy for one person to move. So I actually have to get some help to move those so I can start working on them. So it's a lot more involved than you may initially think. So it is something that's going to take time, and I have to be ready to do it, because once those heavy parts are out and taking up a workspace that I can't move on my own, then they're dedicated to that project until it's done. So it's a very dedicated thing to work on, and I just need to be ready to do it when I start. So videos will happen about that when I'm ready to show something, but I'm not going to just make a video saying, you know, here they are still. But anyway, I will bring you along for the ride. I'm not going to do one video that's like, they're done now, because it's just going to be too much work. But I'm taking my time with it. So, this is the front panel for a Data General Nova 3. Now, Matt saved this from a complete Nova 3 system that he ended up with. I forget the exact story, and I don't want to really give away too much here, but I think he ended up just saving this one part. And he was at one point trying to make it work just with like LEDs and stuff, so he'd actually taken it apart and started desoldering some things. So this is modified from original condition. Now, I have Data General Nova 4, so this isn't really applicable to that, but what I really want to do is to kind of continue on his project, but rather than just make it blinking lights and read the toggle switches here, I think it would be really fun to take one of those Pi emulator programs and map it to an actual Nova 3 front end. So you would do actual Nova 3 computation on the Nova 3 front panel. So I think that would be really cool, and that's something that I really want to try doing someday here. So I'm actually quite excited to receive this, and this with a Raspberry Pi would make for a much better candidate for traveling displays than actually taking a real Nova system. So you might see a mini computer at a event someday, but yes, that is really cool. Thank you so much for sending this. I really look forward to trying to get this working. It is definitely going to be a challenge, and I have no idea what this bus is, so I'm basically going to have to reverse engineer this or try and find some schematics or something. But yes, definitely thank you. Now, Matt also included several bonus goodies with this that I actually had no idea were coming. I did look at these at one point, but I've now forgotten all but one of these, so let's go ahead and take a look. So first off, one of these is a, I think it's this one. Let's just go to that one first, then. Get this open. Yes, it is this one. It is a Diamond Multimedia Voodoo 1. Now, I'm actually very excited to get a Diamond Multimedia Voodoo 1 in particular for a build I really want to do. So I'm really excited to get this. But he also included the VGA patch cable, and that is what I used on the tiny Pentium PC. So I had opened this already, and it just fits so perfectly to make that whole system nice and tidy. So yes, I was very excited for that. I originally, for my first Voodoo 2D pass-through system, wanted to make a PCB that would attach here and then go up to the 2D card, and I may still do that, I don't know. But yes, for now, that patch cable's over there, and then you can just use VGA KVM cables to pass through elsewise. But yes, definitely a huge thank you for this, and I have plans for that in the future. Now let's take a look at one of the other cards now that I've explained the missing component here. Right, this is... Oh, this is an AW64, wow! Okay, so this is going to be one of the, I assume, later or less ultra fancy models. It still has the, I believe that's a wavetable header. I have a Sound Blaster Gold that I rescued from a scrap lot. But, wow, that's really awesome to have a second one now. This card is very short. That would almost fit in the tiny Pentium system, but yeah, unfortunately that ISA slot's just not accessible. But that's super cool. This is probably honestly going to go in the system with that. If it's not this one, then it's going to be the Gold, but this one has the 3.5mm connector, so I don't know, I'll have to think about that. But yes, definitely, thank you for that. That is a really cool thing to get. And then the last one here, I see ISA pins. This is another Sound Blaster. This looks like the slightly more common type of Sound Blaster. This is 1997. I don't see, there's not a specific chipset that I'm seeing there, so it's not a Vibra, but this is of that era. So this is going to be a plug-and-play Sound Blaster, probably a 16 or 32 clone, but this is definitely a good option if you don't need like super fancy MIDI stuff. But yes, definitely thank you for those. This is going to spur on another build sometime soon here, so I'm looking forward to this. Thank you. Okay, now the last package, which is kind of different because I don't know what's in here. Well, I have a rough idea, but this package is being put together for, I think, over a year now, and both I and Tomatolicious in Hammer, Germany, who sent it, have kind of forgot what all's in here. So this is going to be as much of a surprise to you guys as it is to me, and almost to the person who sent it. So let's go ahead and dive in. There are only a handful of things that I actually know and remember, and this is one of them. So I'm actually just going to kind of talk about everything as I pull it out here rather than do one thing afterwards, and we'll just show the highlights. But the first thing is something I am extremely excited for, and there are multiple of these in there of different varieties. So at first, this seems like your average multi-IO card, and while it does, you know, all the usual things, I think it does, it's got a lot of weird stuff on there. That connector's too big. That's not SCSI, is it? Weird. But anyway, it's serial, parallel, you know, all the fun stuff. I guess game port. But the floppy controller on here is capable of using 4 drives. These are 2 floppy controllers, which means it does primary and secondary controllers on 1 card. Now, this is something that I really want to do with my 46 down here, and I'm very much looking forward to getting this installed. There are a few other tests that I want to do with the cards that are like this in here. He was able to get these new old stock. This card has never been used from a closing computer store. And I can look at those contacts on the card edge there, and I can guarantee that card has never been put into a slot. So that is super cool. There's just one thing that might prevent the cards in here from being all in one full function floppy cards, but that is something we'll take a look at in a later video. But for now, I'm super excited to get the 4 floppy capability, because what that really means is that you can install 3 floppy drives in a 46. You can have a 1.44 meg floppy drive. Obviously, everyone wants that. You can have a 1.2 megabyte floppy drive and a 360K drive. Now, it usually comes down to a choice between a 360K and a 1.2, and it really only matters, I believe, for writing 360K disk images, but with so many old vintage computers laying around, that's one of the most important things that I use my 46 for. So I have the 360K disk drive in there, which means that there are some games that I just can't play on it that would be really nice. So I'm happy to get that, and hopefully I'll be able to outfit my 46 with all the drives I ever want. All right, now let's go ahead and continue. Yeah, I'm guessing these are ISA. Whoa, that one's really... Oh, this is another GPIB card, so I guess we forgot about this. I'm going to be all GPIB'd up. This one's a National Instruments GPIB card. This may not work normally. They have a tendency of doing some custom stuff, so I think that National Instruments is the one who does... what is it? They have their own programming language system for interfacing with equipment. MATLAB? No, it's not MATLAB. I forget what it is. But anyway, this may not work with most drivers. So not that any drivers for these will be standardized. Oh, I know what this is. Okay. This is for a project I'm working on in the background that I don't want to get more into, but if this all goes together, yeah, this probably does. Okay, now I know. Yeah, this is interesting. If I can get it working, which is honestly fairly likely that I won't be able to, but if I can, that'll be super cool. There's probably more parts to this in the box. Ah, yes. This is a 46 DX100 SBC. We have a PC 104 bus here, I believe. We got one slightly bent pin. PS2, VGA, Ethernet. Wow, this thing's super cool. So this is a super small computer. This is a whole computer. So I know I just did the tiny Pentium PC and I said that was about as small as you could get. That is an example of how you can get something that's much smaller, but this is very non-standard for like ATX desktop stuff. This is a standard, but it's just its own standard. This is super cool. I have a plan for this already, and we will look at that later in the year if I can get it working, and I'm really hoping I can. And then under that, we have, oh, wow, awesome. This is an LS120 drive. This is internal, and these are not common at all. I do have one other of these, and I have not been able to test it. These are IDE, but I believe they require special ATAPI drivers, so they won't work under DOS, but these are super duper cool, and yeah, I'm looking forward to putting that probably into the new Windows 98 PC. That, I'm guessing, is an AW32, SB32 PNP. Oh, it's a Sound Blaster 32. Okay, that's cool. So it probably doesn't work. I have no idea, though. These are, again, all pulled from scrap, so that's sweet. Okay, it's a long PCI card. This is a Voodoo Rush, I believe. And this is a, I think a Voodoo 2 and a 2D capable card on one. So if, say that Tiny Pentium PC had not had the onboard Verge chipset, then this would have been a great alternative because it integrates everything into one. It's just you run into bottlenecking on the PCI bus with two card interfaces on there, and the whole thing's a bit slower than just having them separate. Motherboard has become one with the foam. Has pierced it in many places. It was right up against the side of the box, so it may not have survived, unfortunately. There might be internally cracked traces. I don't know. But since it's AT, it's probably only a 2-layer. No, it's not 2-layer. Whoa. Okay, this is 386 new. That's what the note says. New. That's super cool. That's super weird, too. Okay, so we have a 386 here, and this is... I don't know what that is. I'm going to guess that's some kind of companionship. I think the 387 goes there. Is that an ISA slot facing the wrong way? That's... I mean, look at that. That's super weird. That's not VLB. That's cool. Quad-tel BIOS. That thing's cool. Okay, the part number on the second chip is A2385533, so 385? I don't know, that must be chipset. That's really cool. This is clearly some kind of test board. These SMD parts have exposed vias all around them for every pin, so you could debug this. This is really, really weird. Huh, cool. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit it back into this foam. Maybe if I put it the other way around so it doesn't go into all the old holes it stabbed. Yeah, that went a little bit smoother. I'm really bad at getting back to emails. I'll just leave it at that. Okay. We have a dual compact flash to IDE adapter. I don't know if this is 2 drives. So it shows up as the master and slave, or if it's like RAID. It's probably the master and slave. This is probably going to be the long-term solution for the Tiny Pentium PC then. This might even fit directly on the motherboard poking up. That would be sweet. And then I would just get 2 32GB SD cards. Ugh, that's not going to be inexpensive, but there may also be a way of getting larger hard drives in there. Someone linked me to a BIOS update for that, so I might do that too. I don't know, but that thing's super cool. I didn't know that was even a thing that existed. There is so much in here still. Wow. This, I know what is. This is a metal box. It has a serial port and a, I believe, optical out. And I won't get into this right now, but guided wave. There. And I believe mercury is involved. Faceplate for an XT hard drive. And Linux Hackers 10 for Linux. Part newspaper, part seat. Oh my, that is a lot of CDs. Whoa. PC Magazine Linux 406. It's got Debian, it's looking like. That is cool. That's a lot of Linux. Wow. All in German, because this comes from Germany, but that is still sweet. Oh, yeah. KDE is where it's at. That is really cool. Oh, I know what that faceplate's for. Oh, wow, that is heavy. Okay, I think this is multi-100 megabytes. The PCB, I don't believe survived. It's cracked. Traces, no, there are transistors on that corner. I don't know if this will come back. It's worth a shot, though, most likely. What is it, MFM? It's MFM. Where is the capacity? Or even part number. Let me just find a part number. ST442E. So that is this many megabytes. And this goes on the front here. That's a really unfortunate about that corner, but I think that this thing was not behaving well to begin with, so it may not work out. Ah, that's cool, a Kodak photo CD. So this will have, oh, it's a photo CD sampler disc. I totally forgot about this. That is super cool. All right, this is another one of the 4 floppy controllers. Now, none of these came with drivers, and that's because there are generic drivers, but they should also just kind of work. But yeah, there's also a way of declaring multiple floppy drives in DOS when you have the primary and secondary controllers. So I'll just have to experiment with that. Ah! Now, okay. In the comptometer video, I mentioned the arithmometer, and this is something that gets called an arithmometer all the time. It's not, okay? This is essentially a vertical pinwheel calculator. You pull down numbers, and you can add them to the register up top. This is really cool. I didn't have any of these, and it includes the, I'm going to call it a stylus. That's not going to be what it's called. But that is super cool. I get too easily distracted here. Yes! Bubble LEDs. I was sent a bad Texas Instrument calculator a while back, and Tomatolicious found me some potential replacement bubble LEDs for it, and hopefully one of these will work. DOMs. Okay, 128 megs, 128 megs, 512 megs, 64 megs, a super tiny battery, a CR1220. I'm not sure why. Oh, because it goes to whatever this is. This is a small little board. I believe this is a Dallas clock replacement kit. Okay, so this should probably go in that bag if it'll fit. And then there are 2 of those and 2 batteries to go with that. So these are for Dallas clock chips. I think I had one. Yeah, there's one in my 46, and I said I was going to get around to a video on that. I haven't done it yet. I have another computer that I can borrow from someone that needs it done, and I will do that. I also have the 686 Cyrix chip and board that I was sent a long time ago, and that I actually got used in LTX, but I had to do the hard Dallas clock mod to get that working again. This is a open source replacement outright, which is really cool. There's another DOM, and then there is this, which is a 5 1/4 inch to 3 1/2 inch floppy drive adapter board thing. That's pretty cool. I haven't seen one that's that big and complicated before. This is another, another casualty. Okay, I'm not gonna be able to get it out super easily, but it's another 4-drive floppy controller. Every single one of these is different, so there is 3 times the potential for them to do, I'll just say it, single density disks. So that's what I'm looking out for. Let's see, we have a USB header card, a PS2 and LPT plate. I think all the LPTs are wired the same. The PS2 is not compatible with any boards that I know I have, so I'll have to probably put a different connector on there, which isn't that difficult. There is a mouse that looks like it might be serial. I don't have a lot of serial mice. I think I have 2. This is a Logitech. Oh, those are nice. I really like that mouse. Yeah, I only have 2 serial mice, I think. One of them is a Memorex trackball, and the other one is a Microsoft mouse that doesn't work anymore. There's that cable. There is another PS2 header, and that one I believe will work on my 46, but it does have one. A red thing that probably goes in a mouse. And another Logitech mouse. Are these the same mouse? I believe they are. But one is branded, the other is not. And that, aside from this coffee stirrer or air can tube, is it. Wow. Thank you. That is a lot of cool stuff. All right, well, that's all of the mail that I have. But I think I actually need to cover 3 more things still, and they're from a very long time ago. So my last mail video I did right after I got back from VCF West, and I covered a couple of things that I was handed there physically, and I think I forgot to talk about things I was handed at LTX the week before. So let's add those in now, because there were some really, really cool things that I was given, and I haven't shown them yet. So first off, I have one thing that's in my storage, and that was given to me by Disappearing Ink, and that was an Apple IIgs with a 3.5-inch floppy drive. That is going to be really cool. I still need to sort through my keyboards that I have available and figure out which one would be best and determine if I have a usable monitor for it, but that will be really cool when I can get it going. Similar to that is a card that was given to me by Gadget Blues at LTX, and that would be this. Now, this is a very different type of computer peripheral, and when I was handed this, I didn't fully appreciate what it was, but now that I've had some more time to look it up, I'm extremely thankful. So this is a Diamond Trackstar E. Now, it's obviously an ISA card. There's nothing too unusual about that. It looks like it has 2 serial ports, but then an RCA jack? Well, this is an Apple II. There's a 6502 there and a second one here, a couple of BIOS ROMs, but this is an Apple II add-in card for the IBM PC. You're able to use the IBM's keyboard, mouse, and I believe monitor, or potentially an external monitor, but it's an Apple II on a card. This is a header for connecting an Apple II floppy drive so you can read and write floppy disk images. And one of the interesting things about the Trackstar E is that it has the ability to load virtual disk image files, which should make this actually an ideal candidate for writing Apple II disk images. So this thing is really cool. It's got joystick ports. It's just, this thing's awesome. Really, definitely thank you for giving me this. I have an idea for exactly how I want to implement this, and I'm working on getting to that point, but I'm very grateful for this. This is super cool. Actually, now that I look at this, that looks like a 16-bit ISA slot there. Let me take a sneak peek here. Yeah, that definitely is. So this came out in the 16-bit era, but was designed for an 8-bit slot. That is cool. So yeah, massive thank you for this. I'm not sure what system this is going to end up in, but when it ends up in there, it is going to be super cool. Now, the next thing was given to me by someone who you may recognize if you watch Linus Tech Tips regularly. This motherboard was given to me by Brian the Electrician. Now, if you've already watched my Tiny Pentium build, you've seen this board. It is a Socket 7 system, and it has a Pentium 166 in there, I believe. It's got EDO RAM slots, and then I'm of confusing these RAM slots. I believe these are SD RAM. Now, please, it doesn't matter. Sorry, I confused them for the expansion slots. But anyway, this is a Pentium motherboard, and I still think this is the only Socket 7 ATX style, well, not ATX, AT style motherboard I have. So this is really nice. Thank you for this. And I'm not sure exactly what system this is going to end up creating, but it is really nice to have it at the very least as a reference, because I don't have any others like this. So it's already been useful, obviously. So definitely thank you. He also gave me a couple of sticks of the 32-pin RAM, so thank you for that as well. Migrated my general storage because it has been quite a while since LTX, but yes, definitely thank you for these. I need to start building some computers, I guess, because I've got a lot of motherboards backlogged now. Well, I think that's it now. I've opened all the mail and covered everything that I was given that I took way too long to get to. I am incredibly thankful to everyone who has sent something here and in the past. I know that I'm in a very fortunate position, so just thank you so much. But for now, that's it, and yeah, if you want to see some more stuff like this or about some of these things, hopefully in the future, I know I'm kind of bad about that, then you may want to subscribe, and if you want to support the channel, I am on Patreon. But for now, that's it, and I'll see you next time.